How many of you have heard about GraphQL? Yeah, Postgres. Okay. If you don't know what these two are, might not be able to make much sense out of what I'm going to talk about. But there's a really cool demo, so I guess we all will get happy. We'll be all happy towards the end of the demo. So I'm Shahid. I work with a company called Hasura. We are from Bangalore. So what we do is we have a GraphQL engine which can run on top of a Postgres database, and you can use this GraphQL client or anything to contact the database, do your CRUD calls and all. So I'll come to that in detail towards the demo. So we have been working on Hasura for 2 years now, more than 2 years. We open sourced it 3 months ago. We have 5,000 GitHub stars right now. We have more than 120,000 GitHub Docker pools on Docker Hub. And even though we haven't marked our release as stable yet, we are still taking it as alpha. We have a Fortune 500 healthcare company using it, second largest bank in Spain using it. There's a European government transport authority using. A lot of big companies and big organizations are using Hasura in their systems. It's open source, free to use. I guess all of you will check it out towards the end of the demo. So let's talk a little bit about GraphQL. GraphQL is an open source query language specification put out by Facebook. They introduced it in their internal applications in 2012, open sourced in 2015. So this is exactly what it is, as quoted by the GraphQL.org website. It's a query language for your API and your server-side runtime. Executing queries, you're using a type system you define for your data. What this means is that it is solely dependent on the type system that you define for your data, and it does not depend on what your database is, what is the language you're using, what is the client you're using, none of this matters. What is the transport you're using, none of this matters. All it talks about is how the client should contact the server and how the server should send back the data. That's all it says. So for some comparison, if you look at REST and GraphQL, for REST is a URL-based resource, right? You have product/one will get on that will give you data, post on that will create a new product, and something like that. But on GraphQL, everything goes through one endpoint. You have one endpoint and you call that endpoint, you post a query string or you do a query parameter, and you exactly say what you want. You say you want the product, you want this ID, you want the name, and you get that back from the server. Now, let's say you want to get you have a REST endpoint for product, you have a REST endpoint for brand, and you want to get product with brand. What are you going to do? Typically, if you're a front-end developer and you call the back-end developer, hey, I need an endpoint for product with brand, because I can do it by making an API call to product first and then making an API call to brand. So it's like 2 API calls from my front end, but I don't want to do that. Can you give me an endpoint for product with brand? And your backend guy will be like, I'm busy with something else. I'll do it when I'm back. So you're blocked right now, right? You're blocked to do your work. But in GraphQL, you can say product and you can nest the brand object inside it. If your data is modeled in that manner, you can get exactly what you want and only what you ask from the server using GraphQL. And another important feature about GraphQL is that there are subscriptions. For example, there is a database state in your backend, which looks like this. Payment becomes true after some time, dispatch becomes true after some time. You want to show this on a UI with like a tick mark appearing, the loading becomes tick mark. Typically, you would do this with a WebSocket implementation. You have to write some backend code, you have to write the corresponding front-end code. And with GraphQL, this is just one subscription query. You just have to make this query and the client libraries take care of everything else. Whenever something is in the background, it updates in the front end. So Postgres is powerful, we would like to call it the world's most advanced open source database. GraphQL is amazing for developing UI-driven client front-end applications. Both of them gives you Hasura. We have built Hasura combining these two, and you put GraphQL, DigitalOcean also into that mix, and you are the most awesomest developer here. Okay, so it's as easy as clicking a button to get GraphQL running on your DigitalOcean droplet. You can just go to create droplet and go to the one-click applications, and there's Hasura there. And users have been so happy about this. People have been tweeting about it. Hasura is amazing. Hey, DigitalOcean one-click app makes my life so easier, saved a lot of time. Having said that, let's go to the demo. And as always, let's hope the demo gods are with us today. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is, of course, go to DigitalOcean, log in. I've already logged in, create droplets, and okay, the Sharky. Oh, okay, fine. One-click apps. There's Hasura here. Click on that. I just need $5 VM. It's all cool. Bangalore. This is Rajesh's Mac. So I'm just gonna create, right? So this is just gonna create one droplet on the DO with the given specification. And I don't wanna waste so much time, so I already have one created. I will just SSH to it. So when you SSH, first thing you're gonna see is message of the day. If you have used DO, you would see. So it says, this is the Hasura console at this IP, right? So when I go to that IP, I see this. I see this console. So this is the first thing that you see when you use Hasura, where you can execute your GraphQL queries and get response here. This is your GraphQL endpoint. And using Hasura, you can just create your tables here itself. For example, I create a table called profile. I have an ID. And this is all getting created in the Postgres database running on the same VM, same droplet. Name is text. ID is the primary key. And I say create. So the profile table is created. I can also use it to insert some rows. So I am Shahid. And I can say query profile ID. I'm asking for only IDs now. So it gave me one, right? Now I assign it name also. And you see how this auto completes everything for me. So now I get ID and name. So what about if I want to insert one row? Mutation, insert profile, objects, name. Not sure if Vivek is here, but yeah, he's there. Vivek's name I'll put. And since I choose, yeah, I will say, tell me how many rows were changed. It inserted 2. And if I go back and query this again, I see 2 objects are there, right? So similarly, you can create as many as tables, relationships, foreign keys, and everything. You can query them using GraphQL. And now what I'm going to do is so this is a raw Postgres database. There's nothing in this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to import one data set. So this is Chinook. It is a music DB. It has lot of SQL functions and not functions, SQL, lot of data as an SQL file. So I'm going to just import this onto the database. Okay, there's something wrong here. No, okay. So password, I'm going to tell you guys that. So it's starting to import it, right? It's starting the SQL statement execution. Now, as it is happening, we can see that, okay, let's see. Yeah, you can see all these tables appearing in Postgres, right? You can say add all these tables are available through GraphQL now. There are all these foreign keys available. So I'm going to say track all relationships also, and more relationships are getting added. Okay. So data is getting imported, and I go to GraphQL instead of, now let's query for, oh my God, the time just flew. Okay, so artists, I want first 10 artists, or just give me 10 artists and their name, and I see the 10 artists and their name, right? I can also do their albums. Give me 10 albums of theirs. And I also say ID and title, and I get that also. Albums are still getting imported. So whenever that happens, we get that also in the mix. So now once amazing thing about this is subscription, I told you earlier. So let's say albums underscore aggregate. So I want to know how many albums are there right now. So I'm going to click play. Okay, there's 0 albums still. Albums are still getting inserted. So let's try artists. Okay, see, so the number of artists are increasing, right? As in when the import is happening here and the number is increasing here. So you can do this kind of stuff with GraphQL subscriptions. Awesome. So let's go back to my presentation, which is, where is it? Yeah. So I just want to show you one more demo, which you can try if you have internet. Let me just show you. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you a asynchronous serverless function execution. You can scan this QR code or go to this URL. You can try this out if you have internet with you right now. So it's serverless-demo.hasura.app, where you can place an order for some food items, and you can see that order getting placed, the number of things getting processed and all. So what happens is that whenever some action happens, it triggers an event, and that event actually, so this is the events tab. Here you can say add a trigger and give some name, and on this on some table, when an insert happens, call this webhook. That's what you're doing. So for example, I'm just registering on, I'm placing a new order, it's loading items, I say I want donuts and mango. I place the order, and order validation is happening, order validation happened, and this is a serverless function running on Google Cloud. I make payment is happening. These are all mock functions that I've written. And once that happens, restaurant approval happens, and then driver assignment happens. And as and when this happens, you can see this real-time data being shown in analytics dashboard. If any one of you are placing orders, this number would go up. So if I place another order, let's say, and make payment, we can see that the number is going up, right? So these kind of things you can do very easily with GraphQL, where you can just wire up a dashboard and put a subscription with that, and it gets immediately reflected in that dashboard. No code is written to make the graph refresh or anything. You are just only writing code to render the graph first. The refreshing the graph and data changes and all is taken care by the GraphQL system. So performance, like what do you get? It's an 18 MB Docker image, 50 MB RAM consumption at 1,000 requests per second on a $5 DigitalOcean droplet. So this we have benchmarked it for simple queries. Complex queries, this could be a little bit less. And raw Postgres performance is guaranteed to be squeezed out through Hasura. Hasura does nothing to impact the Postgres performance. And this is typically the architecture where your application queries Hasura through GraphQL, Hasura compiles it into SQL, executes into the database, sends that info back to the client through using as JSON, just streams it back to the client using JSON aggregations. So we have a droplet on DO. You can install it using one-click application. You can also install it as a container on DigitalOcean Kubernetes. You can auto-scale it if you do that. And you can also use as Vivek shown earlier, you can use DO Postgres with this if you have access to it. And yeah, it's just very easy to do it with DO. So I want to introduce another thing. So if you're looking on building your own application backend, so if you're looking at building out your own application, your own backend for any kind of application, you can use this guide, this tutorial that we are launching today now at here in DOTide. This is a 3-step process to get a real-time GraphQL BAS, where you just have running on DO with authentication with Auth0, backed by Postgres on DO. So you just have to click this button to create a droplet on DO, and then you can create your tables and models for your application. You get GraphQL APIs directly, and you can integrate with Auth0 to set up permissions and other rules, other authorization rules, so that you can control access to the tables and the data in those tables. So try it out. Let us know what you think. Star us on GitHub. We are open source. We are a 3 months old project. 5,000 stars already shows your love. And any questions? Wow, right on time. Okay, any questions? Okay, catch me later. Okay, there's one question, I guess. Oh yeah, yes. So if you are already on Firebase, we have a CLI tool called Firebase to GraphQL. If you are using Firebase real-time database, you can use the CLI to move the data into Postgres. You just have to take a dump from Firebase, and it will just take care of everything else. It will put your data, normalize it, and put it into Postgres. And you can GraphQL real-time on top of it. Underlying the transport is sockets, yes, but you don't have to do any socket plumbing yourself. Yeah. No, definitely not. Then there's no point, right? Okay. The WebSocket, the real-time stuff. So we haven't done extensive benchmarking on subscriptions, but our primary benchmarking shows that one Hasura instance can easily handle 5,000 WebSocket connections. One Hasura instance with 2 core 4 GB RAM. And you can scale it up, vertically scale it up, horizontally scale it up, and just scales accordingly. Pardon? I can't hear you. No, there's no payment. It's like open source. You run it yourself wherever you want. You can like use it however much ever you want. There's no payment. Like Firebase limits you by number of API calls and everything.